Okay, so good morning everybody, and I've been gone for a couple of days, but Michael has been working hard on this whilst I've been gone. The customer came in yesterday and was very happy. My understanding was he was very happy with the progress of the build, and I think overall the progress is pretty good. There's a lot of work being done, and actually today Valerie's going to start to do some of the carpet. We're obviously not going to install the carpet. We'll do some test fitting, but that'll go in at the end. We've still got a reasonable amount of work back there. We're working on the lids now, and we're working on some brackets. I'm mocking up some brackets to decide what we're going to do. One of the things I do want to talk about, and this is something for you all to think about, a lot of times when we're epoxying, Michael and I are doing it together. So when you're by yourself, you may need to think, especially in the temperatures that we have right now, that you can get the epoxy down fast enough before it starts to set up. Temperature affects your epoxy. Surface temperatures, sunlight and what have you affect it. Now, I don't care what all the books and everything says, that's been my experience. So if you're doing it by yourself, and you're used to working with two guys, you might want to reduce the amount of product you pre-mix. That way you don't end up in a little bit of a situation where Michael ended up yesterday, that it was setting up whilst he was doing it. So that's just something to keep in mind. We all learn every day, and the temperature does affect the epoxy. I brought it up before. When it was cold, we was having the opposite problem, that it wasn't setting up. So just kind of keep that in mind. Maybe if we both have been here, it might not have happened, who knows, but it has been pretty warm. So Michael has been working on the lids. It's nothing, you know, I know you guys want to see more content, but to be honest with you, there's nothing special about the lids. We're squaring them up, we're raising the corners for the carpet, so there's no sharp edges. Obviously we'll be sanding this down, epoxying this, getting that out of the way. We've got all this mocked up right now. So as you can see, we have our nice radius corners, and I've been working a little bit this morning on just coming up with some aluminum supports for this edge. This is just my mock-up to get the angles correct, and so we have something along this edge to just give it a little bit of additional support. So we'll have one here, and one over there. We have to have one here as well to help with this corner. So that's kind of what we're going on. The client brought in a light that he wants to have up front. The bracket. Lost the bracket. We lose more stuff around this place.
It's right there.
Right away. Oh, hidden. It's top secret. We lose muscle around this place anyway. If it's got a flat surface on it, we'll cover it up. So this is the bracket for the trolling motor, and if this isn't right, I'm going to drive up to where Hugh is and slap him, because Hugh made all the dimensions for this, so it better work. We're going to have to do a little bit of, I haven't made up my mind yet, but we're going to have to work on this a little bit. I don't know what to do, because this had a wreck. So this is all screwed up. So I don't know, you know, I don't know. We'll look at it. I don't want to put too much of a twist in it, especially as the trolling motor is going to be sitting on top of it. Like as you know, I believe the trolling motor should be sturdily mounted. Not, you know, mainly because if they get caught on something, if you move and they get caught on something, you just kind of want to be careful. You don't want to rip your deck and everything off. So I don't know nothing about trolling motors. But anyway, that's my thought process. So we had to sand on this a little bit this morning, and we'll probably have to put a second coat of epoxy on this later on. As you can see, they removed the carpet up here, and the reason why we put some plywood on there is to kind of help us out a little bit. This is also dented and what have you, and so we decided to put a piece of plywood underneath it to help support the carpet. We laid the carpet out on it yesterday, and you can kind of see the undulations. I don't think this is going to 100% solve that problem, but it's definitely going to help it, and also help hide our pedestal, because we'll carpet up to that, and it'll be a clean installation. Michael cut a big hole, and it sits down there. We'll obviously bolt it through. So I'd like to say we're getting towards the end. I think it is time for us to start to make some notes of what we've got left to do. If you look at this, you know, there's quite a bit of work left in here, although probably today we'll get all the tops cut out and everything else, but we've still got to sand all this down. This all has to be epoxied, then it is going to be underbodied, tail, I can't even remember the name of that stuff. They use it on a lot of hot rod cars, where they spray the underneath of the car. Stone guard is what they call it. So we're going to actually stone guard this. I really like that product, and I think it'll look good. Obviously we'll be carpeting on the top. These will have the plastic over the top like we've done in the past, but the inside is all going to be that stone guard to make it more rugged and kind of just help it as people throw stuff in and out. I think it goes well with this boat. Won't go well with everything, but I do think that actually does go well with this build. I think it's going to really, it's kind of similar to the stuff we have in here. It's kind of dirty right now, but it's going to be a similar kind of thing. So it's going to be black, and it's going to look good, and it's going to, I think it's going to go well with this boat. So enough of this. We've got work to do, so we're going to get after it. Okay, so good afternoon. It's been a real busy morning here at Mealey Marine. We basically dismantled everything. I think Michael has some video of that. and we've dismantled everything. We've got the lids, we've got the floor, we've got the decks, we've got everything, and we're starting to put our first coat of epoxy on everything. This piece here has already been epoxied a couple of times, so on this we're actually putting our whatever you call that stuff. What do you call that stuff? So we put our plastic stuff on, and we've got it bonded down with our Loctite marine stuff. We put some tape along the edge because we left a gap either end so we don't raise everything up. It's fairly thin, but we don't want to take a risk of where we start to raise everything up. So we'll kind of show you that after it sets up. It's going to take a while, probably 24 hours. We've got our epoxy on. Piece of advice that we sand it down now, but we don't give it a real good finish because we need it to bond. So in the past we would put all this epoxy on it, sand epoxy. Well, that didn't work out too good because then the glue doesn't stick to it. So you want to kind of rough it up. You want to get your burrs out of the way, but then you want to kind of leave it rough so that the stuff has something to set to. But the other thing that you need to remember is to mark everything. And believe me, it will save you time if you mark it. So when you go back to put it in, you know which way it goes, etc. You go, oh yeah, right. Well, we've been there, done it, and the right one's ended up on the left one, the left one's ended up on the wrong one, and we're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So these are not finished, but we had some epoxy left over, so we went ahead and put it on as many surfaces as we could. We're still going to have to do some polishing and sanding on this. We've got some body filler going on here to cover the heads of the bolts, and it'll look real pretty when we're done. It's very warm, and so everything is setting up really, really fast right now. It's just part of it, but this is just regular Bondo stuff, and we're going to have to redo it because it's set up way too fast, and our hardener was not in the best shape. But that's just basically to cover the heads of these bolts, because this is going to be painted black. So this is going to be carpeted, this is going to be painted black, this is going to have our black fascia shield in. It's going to look really nice when it's done. So just bear with us there before you start making all your comments, all right? So it's been a real busy morning, and Michael has been working very, very hard on this project. We're getting a lot of stuff done with it. We're kind of shooting for starting to get it back together next week. I would say we're probably going to have 2 or 3 days of carpet. We're trying to reduce our carpeting time. But I'd like to get the carpeting down in 2 days, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. But we will be, what we've pushed so hard today is so that this stuff, it takes 24 hours for it to set up. It kind of gets dry fairly fast, but it's tacky. So you put your finger on it, it's tacky. You can't do anything until it fully sets up, because obviously we're going to be carpeting it, or we're going to be putting plastic on it. And those Michael had done a week ago. Yeah, he'd done these a week ago. This here, that one over there, and that one over there, which is supporting the other lids. The reason why they're back over there was we had to re-radius the corner. In fact, this is something that you guys should probably know. So, because of the draft on the bottom of the boat, you either have to have a chamfer on this side, and we put the chamfer on this side, but we forgot to put the radius on this side for the carpet, because you don't want a sharp edge. So you want like a radius, a little bit of a flat, and then it angling in so it sits down all the way on the deck. It's not lifted up, okay? So when we did that, we had to go back and re-epoxy the ends, and that's what's going on here. In fact, these were done yesterday, and they're still a little bit tacky today. I think that maybe has to do with the humidity in the air. It gets dry, it'll start to dry, but it still remains tacky. So, and you can see, the other thing is it sucks it into the wood, and that's what you're looking for. So hopefully this will get dry enough that we can put a second coat on today before we leave. If not, we'll have to come in tomorrow and do that. So tomorrow, thing is Saturday here. So hope you all are enjoying the build. I think it's gone really well. I think you guys are going to be really impressed with it when it's fully done. And The difference between this build and Mitch's build is it's kind of square, which makes things a lot easier for us. Although it does bow out in the middle. So it does bow out here. So there's a bow to it. So we could, fortunately we caught that. So the locker tops on here aren't actually square. They've got an angle to them, and the reason why they have an angle to them, if we'd have made them square, there would have been our regular gap and it would have got wider for the carpet. So because of that, we was able to skew it. There was 2 degrees, but 2 degrees over 16 inches is quite a bit. So just kind of keep those things in mind if you're tackling one of these. So anyway, just wanted to kind of give you an update whilst we was taking a little bit of a break, and we'll continue to keep the videos up and start to show the bolt back procedure. All right, have a great day.